Good afternoon, everyone. This session, we are prepared to establish the nation's first Office of Missing and Murdered Black Women and Girls. When we started this conversation at the legislature back in 2019, there were an estimated 64,000 to 75,000 Black women and girls missing in the United States, making it clear that we didn't even know the full scope of this crisis. In 2020, more than 100,000 Black women and girls were reported missing. There are known disparities for our girls and women in terms of Amber Alerts and media coverage. In Minnesota, Black women are almost 3 times more likely to die of homicide. Across the US, at least 5 Black women a day were murdered in 2021. This reflects a 51% increase over 2019, the largest increase of any racial or gender group during that period. Unsolved homicide cases also rose against Black women. They rose 89% in 2021 and 2020 compared with 2018 and 2019. Again, a far bigger increase than any other demographic. And we know that cases involving Black women and girls stay open 4 times longer than cases involving their white peers. These disparities are simply unacceptable. Behind these horrific numbers are real people, human beings with hopes and dreams, people with purpose that did not expect that they would not see tomorrow or simply vanish. They deserve to be respected and honored, and we must recognize that families and communities are being devastated by this crisis, and they deserve our support, resources, and answers. I want to be clear that this office is not asking for more attention. It's about getting the same attention and having our lives honored in the same ways. We matter, and we deserve the same energy and coverage in our cases. We are worthy of attention, we are worthy of resources, we are worthy of protection and investment in prevention resources. I want to thank the families that have shown up year after year as we fought for this office to relive the worst days of their lives, forced to sit in that trauma repeatedly to get to this point. And I also want to thank the task force participants and advisory council members and all the groups that have contributed, including the Black and Missing Foundation, who are here today and who are actively bringing loved ones home in order to address this crisis. We know that we will need a sustained community-based response, and this office is a first step in that direction. Today on the House floor, we'll also be taking up a bill to prevent catalytic converter theft. Converter thefts have skyrocketed across our state. Minnesota currently ranks 5th in terms of catalytic converter theft insurance claims. We all know someone who's been impacted by this type of theft, and many of us know people who have been impacted multiple times. These thefts are hurting Minnesotans' pocketbooks as replacement costs can exceed $2,000. This bill will provide additional tools to law enforcement to crack down on these thefts, including large-scale criminal enterprises. Minnesota was among 9 states in a recent takedown of one of these large theft rings, where an estimated $38 million of converters were stolen, and the extracted precious metals were sold for more than $545 million. This bill has been around for several years. Minnesotans want this to happen, and we're finally going to get this done. And with that, I'd like to invite up Chief Sturgeon.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Sturgeon. I'm Chief of Police for the City of West St. Paul. First off, I'd like to thank Representative Ruth Richardson for her relentless commitment to move this bill forward. It's been at least 3 years that she's been working on this to get to where we are today, and for that I am grateful, as are many citizens, not only in West St. Paul, Dakota County, but throughout the state of Minnesota. And again, thank you to the other authors that have signed on to this very important bill. 3 or 4 years ago, catalytic converters were very infrequent. However, in West St. Paul, we have 5 square miles, a population of just over 21,000. In 2019, we had 0 reported catalytic converter thefts. 2020, we had 25. 2021, we had 177. And in 2022, those numbers remain steady. It only takes a couple minutes to remove a catalytic converter, but it takes days, sometimes months, to get a replacement for the stolen one. This leaves many individuals that are dependent on their vehicle to figure out different ways to get to work, take their kids to school, or make those necessary errands. It is a huge burden to find alternative transportation to get needed medical appointments or to get to other significant appointments. We have a large population in our city that lives paycheck to paycheck. Talk about a burden to those individuals that have their catalytic converter stolen, anywhere from a few $100s for a replacement to thousands of dollars. It puts a very significant financial strain on many citizens. There are residents that even had their converters stolen more than once. We've had residents that have their converter stolen 3 times. Frustrating and stressful, no doubt. Prior to where we are today here at the Capitol, many cities passed ordinances to combat this crime, including West St. Paul. Those ordinances do not have the ability for the needed regulations that House File 30 possesses. This bill will make a difference. Once enacted, I asked representatives at our nation's capital to pass federal regulations to control the possession and sale of catalytic converters to address the large-scale organized thefts that occur across our country. As some of you heard me say before, this is one area of criminal activity that we cannot arrest our way out of alone. We need prevention, we need education, we need enforcement, and most importantly, we need regulation. Again, thank you, Representative Richardson, for your dedication to get this bill to where it's at today. It will go a long way to deal with this problem that plagues all parts of our state. Thank you.
Dr. Hayden?
Good afternoon. 7 years ago, come July the 23rd, my daughter, Taylor Hayden, was taken from us. Imagine this, getting up at 11 in the morning, someone knocks on your door, you don't know who they are, and so you ask, who are you? And they say, are you Taylor Hayden's father? And I said, of course. And then the person goes on to say, you need to call this number. And I'm asking why. And they're saying, just call the number. Well, I knew when you get a call like that, Joyce and I, my wife, we knew something was going on. No one's ever come to our house asking, were we Taylor's dad or mom, and say, call a number. This has to quit. Representative Richardson, you've carried this torch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're going to make sure that it continues to burn on behalf of all these people standing behind us. I want to thank you for coming. It's very important. You don't know until you know how we feel. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Verna Cornelia Price, and I'm the founder of Girls Taking Action, a program which has 21 different groups of girls we're mentoring across the Twin Cities, and also in St. Cloud with 500 girls in the program. This is our 18th year of Girls Taking Action, and I cannot tell you how many times I have had girls say to me, I don't feel safe. Don't feel safe. And when our girl was taken right from school, they take him right off the parking lot. Missing, gone. Her mother had no one to call. There was no office, Representative Richardson. There was no one to call. And the police officers were not taking her seriously because she was just another black girl running away or quote unquote prostituting. Let me tell you, in this country, it is time for us to take care of our black girls and women. We have been expendable all of this country's history from slavery times. And it is now time for us, Minnesotans, to say we care about our black girls and our black women, and we're going to step up and show that by passing this bill and getting that office up so my mother, and I've got 500 of them, 90% of them are black girls, my mother has someone to call. And there are organizations like Girls Taking Action that a girl can say, you know what, I don't feel safe, Miss Tanisha, I don't feel safe, Miss Dorothy, can you help me? And will someone, officers, listen to us? And today, Minnesota, I'm asking you, as the founder of Girls Taking Action and the co-founder of the Power People Leadership Institute with my husband, Brother Shane, I'm asking you to protect our black girls and women. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Lakeisha Lee, and I'm the co-founder of the Brittany Clardy Foundation. My sister Brittany went missing February 11th, 2013, 10 years ago. When my sister went missing, we knew something was wrong immediately. When we reached out to our local officers, they let us know that girls do this all the time. She probably just ran away with her boyfriend, but we knew different. We knew something was wrong. It took 10 days for us to find her. And when she was found, she was not alive. Our whole world has been shaken. Our whole lives have been turned upside down due to this. I now dedicate my time and my family's time to solving this, to working towards this issue, to make sure black girls and black women know you're valuable, you're loved, and you can feel safe. Here in Minnesota, we are creating the blueprint to do this work. I invite all of you to make sure that you're paying attention to what's happening today. Because when black women and girls are safe, we're all safe.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Athena Hollins, and I am carrying the conversion therapy ban. First of all, I want to start off by saying conversion therapy is a misnomer. It is not therapy. It's been denounced by every mainstream medical and psychological association, including the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association, and the American Academy of Pediatrics. Conversion therapy includes a range of dangerous and discredited practices that try to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. These treatments are ineffective and lead to depression, decreased self-esteem, substance abuse, self-harm, and suicide. Despite this overwhelming rejection from the medical and psychological institutions, approximately 7% of LGBTQ plus people in America have received conversion therapy. Right here in Minnesota, people have received conversion therapy. I want to note that the opposite of conversion therapy is not gay-affirming therapy. It's simply self-affirming, letting people know that they are okay exactly the way that they are. 20 states, as well as the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico, and more than 75 cities across the nation have restricted this harmful practice. I'm proud that Minnesota will be the next state to ban conversion therapy. It also seeks to prevent desperate and frightened parents from being taken advantage of by deceptive providers in the conversion therapy industry. Our Two-Spirit and LGBTQIA+ gender-expansive youth should be celebrated for who they are and who they are going to become. No one should be subjected to abuse and vicious treatment that cause harm and mental deprivation. When a child or youth is discovering their identities, it is of the utmost importance that those families are given adequate support in navigating this new journey together. Families should not be victimized and abused for their vulnerability. We must move past the idea that queer people can choose their sexuality and gender identity and let them show up as their full, glorious, authentic selves. Minnesota has long been a champion for queer rights, and we have the chance to continue leading on this issue by passing this bill tonight. I'd like to hand it over to my Senate partner, Mr. Scott Dibble.
Thank you, everyone. Scott Dibble, State Senator, jumping in on a House press conference because this bill is soon going to be appearing on the Senate floor. And we're excited about the opportunity to have a discussion today on the House floor. The time is long past when we should be affirming to all people, including LGBTQIA+ people, and affirm that they are perfect as they are, welcome to show up wherever they are wanted, wherever they are needed, as good, fully human, bringing the entirety of their talents to every endeavor. We would all be richer for that. And for all the reasons that Representative Hollins just discussed, this practice needs to be banned. It is heinous, it is abhorrent, it does active harm to people and their lives. Minnesota is better than this. And so I welcome the conversation, the debate, and allowing Minnesotans and their elected representatives to be as beautiful and affirming as we know they can be. I'm going to hand it over to Kat Roan, who's the Executive Director of Out Front, but first want to thank Hunter Cantrell, former state representative, for being here as well.
Thank you, Senator Dibble. And I will note before I start on this conversation that I think it's fitting that here, as a member of the LGBTQ community, that we also stand in support of Representative Richardson's bill. I'm reminded every summer as we see the images of Marsha P. Johnson that we still have many members of our own community whose murders and disappearances remain unsolved to this day. I am so excited and pleased to be here in support of HF 16. Deeply grateful to the work of Representative Hollins, Senator Dibble, the many folks who have carried this bill and its predecessors over the years. This has been a community priority for many years. Ending conversion therapy is not just about ending a harmful practice here in this state. It is about lifting up, affirming, celebrating the LGBTQ folks who live in every community, in every corner of this state. This is an opportunity for us to not only end this practice, to make sure that Minnesotans get essential, critical care and trust that the care that they receive is effective, that it is evidence-based, that it is rooted in the science, that it will also ensure that every single Minnesotan here in this state knows that they are celebrated here at the Capitol and beyond. It will make sure that our state's LGBTQ youth can grow up to live full, thriving, beautiful lives. And it will make sure that Minnesota can help send a message at a time when we see so many anti-LGBTQ pieces of legislation passing in states around this country, that we have a different set of values. That we're going to be a place of welcome and support for every member of our community, that Minnesota can lead the way on LGBTQ rights again. I'm so excited to see this bill move forward, excited to watch it pass through the House today, and looking forward to a great conversation in the Senate as well. Thank you, and Majority Leader Long.
Thank you so much, Kat. Thanks for everybody for being here today. So we have some of the most community-driven bills up on the floor today of any that we're going to be taking up this session. These bills are about making sure that our community members are safe and making sure that we have equity in all of the representation that we have in our state so that everyone feels welcome and so that everyone is equally protected. I want to thank Representative Richardson for doing double duty today on two big bills on the floor. Thank you also to those who were willing to share the stories of your loved ones and come here and be with us to relive that. It matters. And this is, as Representative Richardson said, the first in the nation for this type of center, but it won't be the last. We are really paving the way here in Minnesota to do what we can to honor the lives of the missing and murdered Black women and girls. And I'm so grateful that you have led the way on this bill. Catalytic converters is also something that the chief spoke very eloquently to the impact that this has on individual community members. Very few members of our community can afford to meet a $2,000 immediate charge that comes into their lives without their choosing. And so we know that this is also an equity issue. This is affecting folks in our communities who can least afford to have these catalytic converter replacements and to take care of them for themselves. I know that in my community, I've heard over and over again from individuals who don't reach out to me on any other issue. But when they get their catalytic converter stolen, then they know that this is a real problem that they need, and they can't get to work. They can't get to their job. They can't get to health care. It has a real impact. And I also want to thank Representative Hollins and Senator Dibble for leading the way on conversion therapy. This is something that we have been trying to ban for years. And today is the day we're going to do it in the State House. And we know this practice is harmful. We've had some of some incredibly moving testimony from individuals who've been subject to this heinous practice before us in the House. So we're taking 3 big steps today. I hope that all 3 of these bills will be broadly bipartisan, because they should be. They should get unanimous support in the House today. And with that, we'll open it up for questions.
Got a quick question on the murder bill for Representative Richardson. I noticed that John Marty's version in the Senate makes it illegal just to be caught with a detached converter that doesn't have the VIN number on it. Does your bill go that far?
Yes, so our bills are slightly different, but we are working together on that. And the idea would be was when there is a detached converter, there would be required to be marked with the VIN so that you can actually connect that with the owner as well. So marking this is an important piece of this, but this also gives really important tools to law enforcement as well. So when they're encountering people with detached converters, they can actually do the work to determine if they have those lawfully.
Do you all know how many amendments they have queued up against conversion therapy?
Great question. There are 5 amendments total, and 1 was worked on in conjunction with GOP authors, so I'm taking it as a friendly amendment.
Senator, did you, I know it was a close vote last time this issue came up in discussion on the Senate floor. Do you know when it's coming your way and when, kind of what the prospects are this year?
I'm not sure exactly when it's coming. We can't take it up before Thursday without waiving the lie-over and et cetera, second reading rule, all of that. So Thursday is the earliest it could possibly come. I haven't gotten word. I'm reasonably confident it will pass by the minimum number, and quite possibly with a 2 or 3 or 4 vote margin. So, looking good.
Pass by the minimum, but you think that there's a chance that a few Republicans will come your way on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can somebody describe the importance of having an office of missing and murdered versus just the task force? Why it's important to have the office, permanent office?
Yeah, the work that was done by the task force was really focused on creating recommendations around what are the steps that we could take as a state to ensure that we are addressing this office. We know in a space where our cases stay open 4 times longer, there's a need for dedicated resources and dedicated attention to address that disparity.
Do you guys anticipate having to do any legislation around gender affirming care? You know, obviously it's been an issue in the potential merger, given that Sanford Health and headquartered in South Dakota and has kind of become subject to those laws there that have reeled back on those rights.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think that there's definitely an appetite for addressing this issue within the state of Minnesota as we become one of the few states within our region that actually is welcoming and affirming. We know that there is some movement on a couple of different pieces of legislation around these issues. I couldn't say when they would be coming to the floor or if they'll be coming to the floor, but I know that we have a whole group of individuals who are working really hard to try to make this place, to try to make Minnesota as safe and welcoming as possible for people who are gender expansive and trans.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.